What had so much hype about it, but was actually terrible? The Power Glove. If you weren't there at the time, you can't imagine how awesomeness kids thought that this thing was going to be. Then you finally played something with one, and tried convince yourself that it was indeed awesome before slowly, oh so slowly, accepting that it was lame as hell. Olestra was a fat substitute that had no calories. Chips would have no fat content and less calories. It was a craze until they realized it gave everyone the shits. Like for some people a few handful were enough for explosive zero warning uncontainable shits. Floam. It was that early 2000s toy that looked really fun on TV, but then we got it and it fell apart almost instantly. Some years back, there was some asshole that hyped up a huge live event of him being eaten by a snake in a digestion-proof suit. I thought it was incredibly stupid, but kept hearing about from coworkers. Day after the event, I hear he bitched out as it was working on swallowing him. So they had to kill the snake to save his dumb ass. Edit. It was eaten alive, a Discovery Channel special. The guy was Paul Rosalie, and supposedly the snake did not get killed. He had to make the snake defend itself to even attack him, as it wasn't interested in him when he acted like prey. 2020. Remember that meme showing how all the holidays were on weekends? Geraldo Rivera opening Al Capone's safe. Anthem. The flight mechanics and Iron Man-ish badass feeling of huge explosions and gameplay is so damn cool to have just let it rot in a gutter. What a waste, such potential. Quibi. I saw ads and promotions for it constantly for months leading up to its release, and they had some pretty famous celebrities in the shows. Then it disappeared after like a month of its release. That one pizza party specifically in our elementary school. I feel like hoverboards were seriously misnamed. I expected Back to the Future, not Back to the Hospital with bone fractures. Google Glass got a lot of hype, but then it was gone. SpongeBob Sweet Victory music but got switched to Travis Scott, Sicko Mode, in the Super Bowl. TED. Back in the early 2000s, billboards went up all over Denver saying, "TED is coming, are you ready for TED?" and a whole bunch of other cryptic TED stuff. Nobody knew who or what TED was. It escalated to the point everyone was talking about TED. Turns out TED was an airline. It lasted like a month. And failed. Floyd Mayweather vs. Logan Paul. Glad I didn't pay for it. Segways. Not necessarily terrible, but incredible, over-the-top hype. Fire Festival. This link. Those Google glasses. Whatever happened to them? Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Awful, and I don't actually believe it's part of HP. Fire Festival. We all saw the documentary and what Andy was willing to do to get water released. Anthem video game. F in the chat for my buddy who dropped $90 USD on a shiny disc. No Man's Sky at launch. Granted, it did got a lot better afterwards. Every seasons for the NY Mets past the early 90s. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but when I was turning 18, the legal adult age to drink in Canada, I was hyped about clubbing and parties and bar hopping, only to find out it's way more of a pain than it's worth. You go out and spend $100 or more on watered down expensive ass drinks and shitty music, then walk in the freezing cold to the next place. Plus the Uber, taxi home. Not worth it. Suicide Squad. Movie was so hyped like it was the second coming of Jesus. Then we saw Leto LOL. That live-action remake of The Lion King, it had no soul. It was terrible. The Lion King in the early 90s was my favorite movie as a kid. I was so disappointed in the new one, and I usually love whatever Jon Favreau does. The XFL. I was a huge wrestling fan and am still a big football fan. So I was expecting fun and exciting. Then I tuned in for the first night of the season. Terrible football, all hot air and no excitement led to a lot of disappointment. I tried to stay with it, assuming it would get better. Then I just gave up. What a waste. The 2012 Apocalypse update. I did not anticipate this being that popular, but I guess that, at the current time, 46,000 plus people who made this my most popular comment of all time. Thanks also to whoever donated gold and silver, y'all are some real ones. Non-fungible token. It's worse than shit. The McRib from McDonald's. It tastes like something I had in my high school cafeteria. My life. I was told that because I am smart, I will eventually grow up to do great things. Nope, I'm just your average Redditor. Eragon movie was riot fuel for anyone that had read the books. Being a grown-up. Edit. Thanks for all the feedback, Yal. You do make some incredible points about economic freedom, agency, and buying all the Lego sets you could want. Having way more household chores and involvement with corporate America really fueled my answer. I love knowing adulthood has brought many of you so much joy. Keep trucking, fellow Redditors. Red Dead Online. Being an adult. Final season of Game of Thrones. For me personally, the third Star Wars trilogy, EP. 7 to 9. A whole year of hype only to find that Episode 7 was a shitty imitation of A New Hope with weaker characters. Surprised no one said Cyberpunk 2077, though I guess that's a given. Mass Effect Andromeda. I love the Mass Effect series, but Andromeda was just a massive flop. Duke Nukem Forever, it was super hyped for years and years and then was nothing but a massive disappointment. The segue. This link, there was a giant campaign of secrecy surrounding it, which only added to the hype. It was supposed to be the most innovative and revolutionary thing we'd ever seen. The inventor promised it would forever change public transport. Then it came out on the market and people straight up mocked it. They made movies that mocked it. The mockery continues even to this day. Caramel M&Ms. I looked forward to finally getting to try them, and that was a big letdown. Peanut butter M&Ms are still the best, IMO. Godzilla, 1998 with Matthew Broderick, the endless trailers. The billboards. The TV spots. The promotion was off the charts. And then, ... Tide Pods, those things do not taste any good. Zion Williamson's career so far. Almost every single game from Aya. Watch Dogs, that trailer still looks far away from today's games, and the game ended up being so disappointing. Donda was hyped. Barely heard anything about it since. Early days of Diablo 3. Diablo 2 resurrected. So far, Diablo 4 just got pushed back. The Phantom Menace. Original Star Wars fans were whipped up into a frenzy after months of hype in the media. After all of that, it turned out to be little more than a big expensive toy commercial with a couple of good bits in it. La Croix. It tastes like Aqua Net hairspray. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and liking. Any feedback in the comments would be greatly appreciated so that we can make these videos even better. Thanks for watching Upvote Stories.